Tawny, and Good Morning Westchester, weekday mornings from 6 to 9, right here on 1460 WVOX. 1460.
Stay tuned now for What Happened Here with Rich Thomas. Rich Thomas is the former mayor of Mount Vernon. And now, What Happened Here with Rich Thomas on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to Whitney Media, a global media station. My name is Rich Thomas. The name of the show is What Happened Here, and we are here every Wednesday at noon. And we ask the question, what happened here? You're on 1460 on your AM dial or worldwide on WVOX.com or streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Today we have a show, a serious show, a show that will go into a combination of issues that relate to mental health, mental wellness. We'll touch upon very sensitive and raw topics like suicide. There was a situation that happened a couple weeks ago with Miss America. Beautiful woman, beautiful person, but she was battling some inner demons and succumbed to her illnesses. And it's a very sensitive topic where a lot of people may be at the top professionally, but personally they're hitting rock bottom. And we have a guest by the name of Michael Barbee. Michael Barbee is a philanthropist. He's a licensed clinician. He is someone that has been through a lot in life. He's an author, a director, has many things going on, from Netflix shows, films being produced and developed after Cannes, France, and just so many things. He's from Newark. He has given back to his community, and he's going to have a conversation with us about what happened with mental health in the land of prosperity, and what we can do to kind of, destigmatize issues around mental health and mental wellness in communities of color. But if you want to call in and you want to talk, you want to raise some issues that are important to you on these topics, or topics that are very close to home with respect to Mount Vernon, you feel free to call in at 914-636-0110. Again, that call-in number is 914-636-0110. And speaking of Mount Vernon, before our guest comes on, I definitely want to just comment on the situation with our city. Very disappointed to see that gunshots erupted outside Mount Vernon High School. Very sad and saddened to see that the shooting was preceded by a stabbing. And it just goes to show you that the relationship between our police and our community is really extremely fragile. And I want to thank the Journal News for noting that the community, the school resource officers, the police that used to play a role inside our schools, those resource officers remain not assigned into the schools. And that's, to me, a terrible mistake. It's a terrible mistake. I said this from day one, to eliminate the role of the school resource officer. They played an intangible role. They played a role in the lives of many young people, and we can probably talk about some of this when our guest comes on. But they played a role to help build up the esteem. They helped play a role to build confidence and trust with law enforcement, especially at a time when we've seen examples of George Floyd or Philando Castile happen, where encounters resulted in the death of unarmed black men. But we reversed that dangerous, trend where the police became friends and not necessarily the foes that some very few isolated bad actors have made it to appear like. But I do say that it's important that the police, and the school resource officers, who are highly trained. They're not your common cops. They are truly they're a version of social workers, but they're not social workers. They're there to really provide a whole array of services, confidence building. They do coaching with the sports. I mean, you go down the line, and just to think about the fact that the stabbing could have been de-escalated had someone been listening. An additional resource could have been there to help. And think about the mental trauma on the kids and the friends that are all involved in that hysteria. And it's probably over something unnecessary to think about, when you really look at it. But in the minds of our children, when they're stuck in the metaverse or Facebook or whatever you want to call it, it's really hard for them to gauge the consequences of their actions because they have no real frame of reference to work from, given the lack of support and resources for their mental wellness. So there's been a ton of money floated for COVID-related issues. I can only say that it's important that the resources that are available to, be it the schools, be it the communities, those resources be directed toward the real problems that are affecting the community. And I can only tell you that there is a solution. It worked before, and I hope that we all see the restoration of school resource officers back in the Mount Vernon City School District. The school district should not pay for it. The city should pay for it. The city has the money for it. Even President Biden said he's going to offer money for ending gun violence in America by offering more grants and resources to hire more police. So guess what? You hire more police and have them trained to do more school resource officer work as well as some other work. And, we can, and we can really make some investments in the social infrastructure of our communities in a very meaningful and different way. Now, our guest, Michael Barbee, is on the line. Mr. Barbee, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this conversation and asking the question of what happened here.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining. As I shared with our audience, you're an author, you're a director, you are a licensed clinician, you are someone that is
No, let me interject. No, I'm not a licensed clinician. No, I'm not.
Then what are you?
I'm an advocate.
Okay.
I'm a consumer mental health services, and I own a mental health and substance misuse clinic.
There goes the miscue. So he helps people. He has a clinic. He has a clinic that helps people with substance abuse. So pardon that miscue, but you are everything in a bag of chips. And I do want to know what's in your bag when you have a chance. But I can say that if you can talk to us and tell us a little bit about your journey, what brought you to wanting to address the issues of substance abuse and mental wellness in especially underserved communities?
Once again, Mr. Nick, I want to thank you for having me. First, second, the National Suicide Hotline. I'm 1-800-73-8255.
So
So, one who is experiencing, drama or please reach that number.
So we're gonna get that number again, and we're gonna post it up on our feed so everybody can have it. But I definitely need you after we go to break to find a good spot because that cell phone connection is going in and out. So we didn't even hear all the numbers. But what I can assure you and all of our listeners is that the topic that we're going to talk about is something that is very raw. It's emotional, but it's real, and we see it play out in different situations and different scenarios. As I was discussing in before Mr. Barbee came on the line, there was a stabbing and a shooting at our high school, and that event alone could trigger all sorts of trauma and stress on the kids, the parents, the administrators, the teachers. You go down the line of all the people affected. And these are things in moments in life where, resources that Mr. Barbee is going to discuss is it could be very helpful in relieving and addressing some of those mental wellness issues. And if you have that number again, Mr. Barbee, can you share it with us again, that phone number?
Yes, the National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273 8255, or text strength to Christ at 741-741.
All right, well, you got those numbers. Don't change that dial. You listen to What Happened Here on WVOX.
This is WVOX.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The rally appears to be sticking today after government bond yields decline. Technology shares are getting a boost from lower interest rates. Google's parent Alphabet is higher, and shares of Facebook parent Meta Platforms are recovering some lost ground. Shipping company Moeller-Maersk sees supply chain bottlenecks easing in June. It purchased shipping services company Pilot Freight to help it to add new services. Samsung is answering a year of rising inflation by launching a new series of smartphones at the same price, $800 for a base model. Samsung says it's willing to absorb the extra cost to attract a wider range of buyers. Canopy Growth shares are slipping even though the company's earnings and revenue top forecasts. Sales in Canada declined in the quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Inflation just broke a nearly 40-year record thanks to Biden's out-of-control spending, and every second you are losing more of your hard-earned savings. But you can fight back. With a gold IRA from Birch Gold, you can protect your retirement from this outright theft. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I'm one of the Birch Gold's many happy customers. To learn how to set up your own gold IRA, text the word SHELTER to 989898. Do it now, today. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Business owners, proprietors, and savvy managers who really know the county know that WVOX is now more than ever a smart, effective, and economical way to reach homeowners, doers, and activists in Westchester and the Bronx. To broadcast your theme or unique message, call Judy Fremont or David O'Shaughnessy to inquire about our reasonable, affordable local advertising rates. Established by the O'Shaughnessy family, which considers VOX a labor of love. They're certainly dedicated to it. Call Judy or David O at 914-636-1460. It's easy to get on the radio and have your voice heard in all the right places. 1460.
And now back to What Happened Here with Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to WVOX, a Whitney Global Media station. My name is Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we are here on VOX every Wednesday at noon, and that's 1460 on your AM dial or worldwide at WVOX.com. You can call into the show at 914-636-0110. Our topic for today is what happened here with mental health. What happened here with issues that are often stigmatized and misunderstood, especially in communities of color. Our guest is Michael Barbee, author, director, philanthropist. He is a business person, someone who has a lot to offer and a lot to discuss. Before we went to break, we were talking about some resources that you can tap into if you need to make a phone call. But a lot of people today, they text. So if you want to text, the phone number 741-741, you text the word strength. They will respond to your crisis. And Mr. Barbee and I were also touching upon the trauma that goes into all of the impacts of mental health and wellness. And we thank you, Mr. Barbee, for joining us. And before we go into the tough talk, literally tough talk, can you just share with us a little bit about your journey? How did you find yourself to become an author, a director, a philanthropist in life?
Once again, Mr. Mayor, I am so grateful that we have this opportunity to discuss the importance of mental health in the community and family. Prior to going, the line was static, so 1-800-273-8255 is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So it's important that your audience is aware that there are resources out there for them at this moment in this hour. My journey is similar to many folks' journey. When we look at inner city living and poverty, we're surrounded with high levels of negativity as well as positive energy. And so when we have things like unaddressed trauma, systemic factors that influence the trauma that we experience, we carry those things into our future, not realizing that we are full of bags of unaddressed issues. And so in my case, growing up in the city of Newark Public School System, my first year in high school, I was homeless. Our family was the victim of an arson fire where two loved ones perished in that fire. Today, we quickly talk about the services of mental health, but back in 1980, those were not the conversation. You pick up where you leave off and you just continue moving forward. And so imagine that adolescent who's carrying that trauma as well as whatever street violence he experienced or witnessed growing up, and taking the pressures within the household, the stresses of just life inside the dynamics of a family with a father who, prior to finding the Lord, when we're looking at community-based things that happen, being carjacked at the age of 20. And so there were a plethora of issues that led me to a downward spiral where I thought my options were better to end the pain. And by ending the pain, it left me in the hospital for a little over a week, where I was introduced at the age of 20 to mental health services. And just as anyone, so we talk about it in the Black community, how we are first to jump to the immediacy of a problem, but when it comes to the continuation of services, going for treatment, we fail to follow through. And so I wasn't looking for a therapist. I had to have a therapist. In order for me to go back in college, I had to show that I was in counseling with an outpatient facility provide mental health services as a result of depression and anxiety. And so what leads me here today on this platform was to have my tools of 2 years outpatient therapy. I learned how to love myself enough to get to the next level. And so life started moving forward. And so while some things worked against me, my brain took a different direction, and I got very straight and focused on things that were good. And so today when I speak life over many people, many things. And so I try to make my life important and impactful. So I've had a lot of success in business, multiple companies. And it was around 4 years ago that I wanted to be closer to my purpose in God. And so it wasn't so much a religious transformation, it was a spiritual journey that I had to go through. And so I decided to close some of those 7 companies I owned, and unfortunately had to lay off 70 employees, but I still wanted more out of life, to be more in purpose and in tune with what the Creator had designed for me as a servant. And so this brought me here. So as a result, I've written books. My first book was Clip Wings, They Do Fly. It was me, in retrospect, looking at my suicide notes and some other notes and techniques that Dr. Shelley Niederbach taught me at the age of 20, which was writing. And being reflective of that, I created a fictitious character, Billy Ray Michaels, that gave a fictitious narrative for my personal experiences. And it spoke about a man on trial for a crime he doesn't remember committing. That book, through my production company, Prestige Media Productions and Barbee Group Film, we were able to take that manuscript and write it into a screenplay. And I directed him, Jen Bergman, Usman Sharif, J.D. Williams, and others. And after that book, I've written other books. The next book was What's in Your Bag, Unpacking One Item at a Time. We all come to the table with baggage, you, I, before we come to our place of business.
And that's where we need to hold the bag. And we got
on the internet.
And we got to hold that bag and hold that dial. You're listening to WVOX on Whitney Global Media Station. Do not change that dial. So everybody, we're on the line with our guy Michael Barbee, and you know, the Instagram connection actually dropped a few moments ago because they said that they are on Instagram. They said that I was playing music or something like that. So that's why you thought you missed. Sorry that you had that experience. But but I can tell you right now that we are rocking hard and rolling heavy and getting into some good conversation with Michael Barbie about just some important topics. When we come back from break, and we'll talk to him about his a little bit about what he did and how come how could clip wings fly. I thought that was a very interesting point. He was talking about his other book about what's in your bag, unpacking items one at a time. All essential, especially for communities that are underserved and where our kids see lots of violence. And I can tell you that, having grown up in Mount Vernon, having seen a lot of my friends get their lives taken away from, be it violence or drugs or gangs, you name it. It's just it's important, especially in the context of there being a shooting and a stabbing at the Mount Vernon schools because the school resource officers are simply not there. So just hold that line.